Hello guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome to an update video, I guess. So if I seem distracted, it's because I've got the rats with me running around on the bed and I forgot to put socks on, which was a major error on my part because Moose likes to bite feet, so if I keep looking down, that is why. So I did have a few other videos I was working on and honestly I don't even want to upload them, I don't even want to sit through them and edit them. Someone is touching my foot right now. And yeah, I'm just not going to sit through them and edit them, so I thought instead I would sit here and talk you guys through what happened and show you some of the clips of the introductions of the boys and things like that by talking you guys through it instead of making a whole separate video, and hopefully that will become clear the reason why in a second. So yeah, when it comes to the updates with the pets, obviously starting with the rats, the reason I got the two new boys besides wanting them for myself was obviously to make sure that if anything did happen to one of my older boys, they weren't going to be by themselves, and honestly the timing of this probably could not have been more perfect. So a week after I brought them home, I did start the introduction process with the babies, Crumble and Humbug, and with my two older boys, Moose and Sprout. So I did film the majority of the introduction process and most of the early stages I did get on camera. As time went on I just didn't feel like filming anymore, so I don't have too much of the later stages in the bigger cage, but I did film most of the introduction process for the most part. And for the most part it did go pretty good. I'd say the babies did leave Sprout alone, which was something that I was really worried about. I feel like they sensed that he was quite frail and they didn't try to challenge him or they weren't too rough with him. And if at any point they were too rough, I was just going to stop the introductions and not try to stress him out. But he didn't seem that stressed out with them, and towards the end and when they were introduced, he did actually really start to love them. And I think they brought him a lot of comfort because he was often curled up with one baby on either side of him and he seemed to really enjoy them. So during the initial stages of the introductions in the neutral territory, I do tend to start out in the bathtub and then I move them into a carrier and I do the carrier method with them. I've used this with all of my rats and it has gone pretty good so far, so that's the method that I use. But in the very early stages of introductions, it was Crumble and Moose that started to have issues with each other. So it was actually Crumble and Moose that started to wrestle and he pinned Moose down during the introductions, as you can see by this clip, and Moose was very dramatic about it, and that was the only real big fight those two had in the early stages of introductions, and then they did go into the carrier and we started the carrier method process. But after that we did continue to move up in the carrier method process, and this was over the span of a few days, and we didn't really have any big fights after that. It was going pretty good and they were all sleeping consistently in a pile together, which was really nice to see, and mostly the babies were gravitating and spending time with Sprout, which was really nice. So this is where the hard part comes in, and I'm not going to talk about it too much because I've already cried far too much last year and I'm trying not to do that as much on camera this year, so I'm going to keep it relatively short. But just in case some of you don't follow me on Twitter or Instagram, or you didn't see on my like creator thing, what's it called, where you put a post on YouTube, if you didn't see that, unfortunately Sprout has passed away. So just in case you're not familiar with my older rats, Moose is 2 years and 7 months old and Sprout was 2 years and 2 months old, and he was the one that was really starting to show his age. So Sprout was the one that was starting to show his age. He was getting quite frail and quite wobbly on his feet. Crumble's come over to me because he knows I'm talking about something not nice, but he was starting to get quite wobbly on his feet. He was still mobile up until he wasn't. He could get from the top of the cage to the bottom and the bottom all the way back up to the top with no issues, so I wasn't too worried about his mobility in his back legs or anything. And he did still have a relatively good appetite. He was dropping a bit of weight, which I was trying to supplement with wet foods and things like that, but he still wanted treats and he still wanted to come out and be with me. He'd spend hours just sitting on me and watching TV with me, and most importantly he still wanted to interact with the other rats and be with them as well. So there was nothing visibly health-wise I could see to treat that was concerning me. He was just getting pretty old. So as I said, the introduction process went quite well. There was nothing I saw from them that said that he was being stressed out by them or that he didn't like them. He did seem to enjoy their presence and they seemed to have this respect for him that they knew not to be too rough with him or to hurt him too much, so I wasn't too worried about them being in with him in his last couple of days because they seemed to bring him some sort of comfort. So I'd say it was about a week after they were initially introduced. They were in half of the big cage I have and things were going pretty well. The only thing was that Sprout was really showing his age at this point, and there's a rat at the back of my shirt. Do you mind? Ow, ow. And yeah, he was spending most of his time in the hammock. I was having to feed him in the hammock because he really didn't tend to move too much, and I was just kind of getting that feeling that his time was probably coming in the next couple of days. So I was just making sure that I was spending extra time with him as well. Sometimes you just look at them and you just know, and I just went in there and I just knew that today was the day. So unfortunately he did pass away and he is no longer with us, but on a lighter note, I am glad that I have these two new babies to keep Moose company, because imagine if I'd waited a few more weeks and this had still happened, Moose would have been by himself. So the silver lining in all of this is that Moose isn't alone. He does have these two new babies to keep him company, but I am still obviously really sad that Sprout has passed away. So yeah, I'm sorry if this news comes as a shock to you if you didn't see on my other social media a couple of days ago or however long ago when I'm posting this video, but I did just want to let you guys know, just in case I didn't post the introduction video and you were confused why I didn't post that or why I weren't posting videos of Sprout anymore. I have decided not to do like the typical tribute videos anymore. I don't think they really helped me too much. It's a lot of work to sit there and edit all the clips together, and I don't find it helps me in the grand scheme of things. I do find it quite stressful and I just don't really like uploading them, so I don't tend to do the tribute videos to them anymore. There's so many videos on my channel with Sprout in that you can go back and watch to remember him, so if you want to do that you can. There's also pictures of him on my Instagram to remember him by, so there's many other ways you can pay your respects and remember him, because he was a really good rat. So yeah, I really miss him. Some pets hit harder than others and this is definitely one of them. And I'm sure that Moose misses him as well, even though Moose tries to not show people that he loves them. I'm sure he did love Sprout in some respects, so we're all doing pretty good in the grand scheme of things. We just miss him a lot. So yeah, that's the updates on the rats. Currently they are still kind of going through the introduction process, because even though Sprout didn't play a massive part in the hierarchy ever since he passed away, the two younger ones have been acting up and they've been going at each other. They just kind of leave Moose to do his thing and he isn't really that dominant with them. The two of them actually have been quite dominant and fighting for dominance between themselves, which I just think is going to have to play out, and I'm just going to have to see how they do together, because right now they're wrestling all the time and humping each other all the time, so I think they just need to sort things out between them. So that's where we're at the moment. We're still in the introduction process and I'm sure things will all work out and all be fine, and we will get to the end and they'll be able to have a nice big cage together, because they deserve it and I love decorating a cage. So hopefully that will come soon and I can film some sort of cage related video for you instead of the introduction video that I had planned. Can you get down, sir? Thank you. In terms of the other pets, I don't have too much to update you. The mice are all doing really good, they're all really happy and enjoying their naturalistic kind of enclosure still. And Orbit, I did make a whole separate video on her recently talking about updates regarding her, so if you want to know more about Orbit you can check that out. I'll leave in the iCards and the description. I do however have an exciting update on the leaf insects for you. They have now reached their final adult forms, which is really exciting. I have 3 adult males and 2 adult females, and they have started to lay and produce some eggs. So I am planning on keeping most of these eggs back for myself and trying to hatch them, because I didn't have the best of luck last time, so I would like to have more success this time. So I'm keeping most of the eggs back for myself, but I will have more than I need available, and that's why I wanted to mention this in this video, just in case any of you were interested in having leaf insects and trying to hatch them yourself. So if by any chance you also want to own some leaf insects and you'd be interested in having some eggs, you can message me on my Instagram, which is just emiologyofficial. Send me a message on there and tell me that you're interested and I could possibly send you some. Obviously I will only send them to people that are prepared and they've done their research and they're seriously, genuinely interested in owning leaf insects. So if that's you, please send me a message on my Instagram. You will need to do lots of research. I do have a video you can watch and I'll leave some information in the description if you want to know more about how to care for them, but you will need to make sure you've done your research, you're prepared, you've got an enclosure in mind that you want to get, once they do hatch, all of that stuff. If that's you, please send me a message on my Instagram. But yeah, the whole process so far has been really interesting to me, watching the male and the female interact and then the female laying the eggs has been really fascinating, and I'm really excited to see the next stage. So yeah, I think that's everything that I wanted to update you on. Obviously some very sad news about Sprout, but also some good exciting news about the leaf insects and some new life that is going to be starting here very soon. To end this video, as I'm not making a whole tribute video to him, I would like to post some of my favourite videos of Sprout that we can watch and remember him by. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you very soon. Bye! Sprout was one of those rats that just really touches your heart. My other rats are really independent and I love them for it, but he was just so affectionate. Even in his last moments, the only thing on his mind was to make sure that I knew that he loved me, and he was just showering my arm in kisses and grooming me, and he was just the best rat. He was such a good boy, and I'm really going to miss him a lot.